Hello everybody again. There's gonna be some more Star Citizen content thrown your way. It's always great to see everybody. Or all the people that come. I laughed in my last video because I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get the numbers I did last time, and that is correct because the YouTube algorithms are a fickle mistress and probably a bit of a what's the one sadistic bat from hell. That's okay. You guys who still stuck around, showed up, this is for you. And this is always awesome to talk to you. So, we're going to talk a little about, I know, again, I'm always a little late, but, I'm getting closer every time. Eventually, I'm going to start getting videos out right when the news pops up, and it's going to be amazing. Just bear with me until I can get a system in order to do streams and get content out on the same days and stuff. Oh, man. But I hope everyone had a good Christmas. Today we're going to be talking about the 3.12 delays, our apparent Christmas present from the CIG. I mean, I wish I'd made a video before it happened because I expected this to happen. Just looking at the crunch time and all the bugs, I'm like, there's no way they're going to get us these dynamic events before Christmas, before their break. And that, that's fine. I'd rather them not be a buggy mess. And really, this is a blessing in disguise. It really is. And, in the background right now, you're just going to see me doing some gameplay, some bad boy gameplay. Definitely some criminal activity going on in here. Because, yeah, I'm a bit of a bad boy in the game. I admit it. I am. I like the bigger payouts, and I like the excitement of possible PP. Yeah, that's right. Possible PP encounters. People versus people. What's the thing? PvP. That's the one. I need the V. The V is very important. Otherwise, it just turns into something awkward. But yes, I like the possibility of more PvP encounters. And it's a good time. It really is. Like you'll see at the very last minute. Well, maybe, I don't know if it'll be the last minute. But like the last minute of the footage anyway, you'll see some fun encounters. But what I'm doing in this video, I think all of you guys should be doing right now. Rather than whining or complaining about 3.12, it is what it is. CIG can be slow on some stuff and they're fast on others, and it's tough because we don't see the whole enchilada. Of course, they have a new roadmap out, which yes, I will look at. It's been Christmas though, guys. Come on, I have children. I had to pump myself into children. I had to put all my efforts their way and get their presents ready and buy a cool shark thing for my kid. It was amazing. And I hope you all had a great Christmas. Really. It was a good time. But let's talk about in your little gallivanting ways in the fake space simulator with your fake spaceships and all that. And this is the time, ladies and gentlemen, to get yourself up to a combat ship. Now, why do I say this? Because if you want to take part in these dynamic events, you're going to either need to be with a guy in his turret, or you're going to need a combat ship of your own. Me, myself, what I'm going for, and what you see me grinding for in the background, is a 325A, which is an interceptor. Now, obviously, big ship battles is the name of the game, but I figure there'll be fighters and stuff, and if I kit it out for some long-range combat, maybe I can at least pump some damage down range and use the missiles accordingly. Now, I picked the 325A because it's cheap. I know it makes no sense, right? Its origin, you would think it should be expensive because it's the super sports luxury model. But no, it's under 1 million credits, which you'll notice that virtually every other light fighter is over 1 million credits. Well, I mean, not starter light fighters like the Mustang Alpha, which is like just under 300,000 credits. But remember, I don't think the Mustang Alpha, and I gotta test it to see just how much combat it can handle. But unless you got one of those fully upgraded, and even then, I'd say you're better off trying to upgrade yourself. And this is a great time because they've just majorly increased the payout on all these missions. Like the two missions I do in the background footage, words, is the lights out mission where you're knocking out the array station, which I'm really excited for what they might do with that later. I really enjoy the idea of having different ways of doing crime but not getting crime stats. But right now it's just a kind of a static mission. I don't know if it actually works where you knock it down and then you do crime in that area and no one knows. I don't think they've really gotten into that yet, but eventually it'll be stuff like that. And, you can be really smart about your crime and not get crime stats. Do long-term planning and do evil bad boy stuff on cities and all kinds of stuff. Good times. And we're a ways away from that. Anyway, that's been boosted up to 28,000 credits. It was only 19,000 before 3.12. I think actually the update too was a 3.12.1. Well, whatever. And then I also do the evil bunker mission, which isn't that evil because in Hurston, it's basically a rebellion killing the evil Hurston dynamic people. Which, at least I assume that's how they're kind of wording it. And I roll, and I don't, if I bring personal politics into this, I'm not into being ruled by corporate types. So yeah, I'll shoot those guys, no problem. Get paid extra money for it, and maybe get a PvP encounter while I'm at it. Good times. But really, this is the time to do it. I mean, if you put that together, 28,000 plus 25,000, you're well over 50,000 with that. A couple thousand over 50,000. It was like 53,000. You can do it in, depending on how fast your computer is, 40 to 50, maybe 30 minutes if you're really fast or you're really close to the locations, and you can get there in a spiffy manner, very, very fast. You could really knock these out quick. It also depends on the, the AI, because, if you're new to this game, these AI can be really janky. But as I also like to say, you should respect them because they're janky, but if they work right, they will murder you. They will kill you extremely fast, and I don't, it's complicated. You'd be surprised. Like you'll get to this rhythm where you've killed so many of them that you don't, they're not a threat to you anymore. You don't think they are. Then you'll turn a corner and one's been like camping that corner, and the next thing you know, you're dead. You don't even have time to do a med pin. They just waste you, and it all depends on lag. Like in this, if I remember correctly, the computers just line up to die. And I didn't get a PvP encounter with the array mission, which you should know if you do these array missions, that a counter mission pops up that people can take to show up and stop your nefarious deeds. I've only had that happen once, and I'm pretty sure it was actually a bounty hunter who was after the bounty, not the mission giver. I don't know if they need more time to set it up, but then they'd have to increase the payout because, you already sit there a really long time. I mean, I guess it's 5 minutes. It feels like a long time. And I recommend buying your own hacking chip rather than picking one up because it saves so much time than trying to land at one of the drug spots, because the drug spots you can't, jump to. You have to fly within like 100 meters or something like that. If you're lucky, usually it's much farther than that because you can't quantum leap right to them. So, I recommend just buying one. The cheapest one is 200 credits. I recommend the one right above that at 450 credits. And when you're getting 2,800, you can afford to, dish out 450 credits, home slice. No biggie. Have fun with it. But yeah, this is the time, ladies and gentlemen, that you should be trying to get into that ship you want, or if you already have that combat ship you like, be upgrading it to the oomph degree, finding someone who wants to be your gunner, something, because these events are going to be cool. They're going to be gosh darn cool when they don't crash everything, right? And you're going to want to be a part of it, and it seems quite clear to me that there's not really going to be any... I could be wrong, but looking at what we've seen so far, I don't know if any leaks have disagreed with this, but it really looks like that you're not going to get any first-person action out of this. It's all going to be ship combat. And that means if you want to be a part of it, you're either going to need a buddy who's going to be on at the same time that you can hop in a turret for. Why am I breathing so weird? You can hop in a turret for or something, or get your own ship. And, again, this is the time to do it. I don't know if they increased the payouts on all the missions, except for the box missions for some reason. Don't know why. Whatever. There's no really. I should clarify. There's no reason to do the box missions right now. Their payout is so low compared to everything else. Just go in, man. Especially the bunker missions right now are so cheap. Not cheap. Their payout's so high now. There's no reason not to. There really isn't. And I'm actually going to do, probably my next video, I'm going to do a little guide for the newbies joining up who want to get right into first-person shooting and what it can be offered in this game. It's a good time. So, you may ask, what ship should you go for? Well, that depends on how many credits you have and what kind of ability you have to get credits. You know, if you've been kind of an industrial player and you make a lot of money mining, you should look at the missions. If you have any, if you want to shake things up and you think you might be able to make a little more money faster that way, of course, the payouts really change things up a bit. But otherwise, you should just stick to your mining, get it done, and then, depending on how much money you have to start out with, figure out what you want. I mean, obviously, the bigger the ship, the more likely you're going to need a couple guys to man some turrets for you. So maybe aim for fighters and bombers. I think bombers are going to be a big one because, again, their emphasis is big ships. So you may even think about trying to get at least a gladiator. I know a lot of people poo-poo on the gladiator, but look, right now, torpedoes are our best bet for knocking out big ships, really big ships, like the cap killer ships, the kind of the medium the Corvette types like the Polaris and the new, it's not Pegasus. What's the one that starts with P and it's a Greek name? Oh Lord, I can't even think. The new one that's in concept that has the big pew pew guns, right? And we don't have those in the game, so bombers are extremely important. So I do recommend thinking about going for that, or is it the Harbinger? Yeah, the Harbinger, which is the Vanguard bomber, has a lot of juice to it. If you have a buddy, have him hop in the turret, or maybe you be that buddy for that turret. What have you. And, I'm going for the 325A just because it's the most combat efficient ship for the price. It's under $1 million. I can get to it in probably 8 to 10 days, the credits I have on hand. And, you can make your decision. If you already have a sizable chunk of funds sitting there and it wouldn't be that much to you to get up to 3 or 4 million for a Vanguard, go for a Vanguard, dude. That health, the ability to jump around anywhere without any trouble, it has a lot of firepower. Again, you might think, hey, it just has a bunch of static guns and the missile pods on the front. Yeah, but you're going to be fighting big ships, not small ships that can scurry away. We're talking about the big ships with lots of guns that you're going to be dodging, and it's going to be a big target for those fixed weapons on the front. Big target for your torpedoes and the missile pods. This is where these types of ships are really, really going to shine, and quite frankly, there's going to be a big demand for them in these events because, again, concentration on big ships. Woo, 13 minutes. Well, yeah, that's kind of how I say about that. I don't have enough time to get enough money together, in-game money, enough fake copper coins to get anything more than a fancy pants interceptor. But, I'm going to get the interceptor I can. But if you should also think about it like this. You might want to think about what you want to use these ships for after these events. Now, I'm sure every now and then we'll get these kinds of events again, and you might be able to join an org who wants to make an Idris pop up at a station whenever they get bored. That's always fun. But you should think about what you want to do with the ship afterwards. Me, I'm turning that 325A into my little bad boy ship. My my camper out in the middle of nowhere, do a lot of crime, far away from Crusader ship, which is very wordy way of saying I'm gonna throw some supplies in it, and I'm gonna go off far from Crusader. Because if you don't know, the only place in the entire game right now that a criminal can rest, get food, water, buy stuff, whatever, is at Grimhex. That's the only place, and it's in Crusader. So this means that most criminals hang around Crusader. That's probably the best place to do a lot of drug runs and whatnot, just because, even if you can find a higher percentage for selling drugs, it takes so long to fly from spots that you can't QT to, that it's, if you only have one spot that doesn't have that you can't QT to, but then you can quantum travel to Grimhex, it cuts the time down in half at least. So it's really worthwhile, and that's why a lot of them hang out there. And of course, if your character gets hungry or needs to drink something, remember, it's a light survival game right now. they need to be somewhere where they can get that. And of course, if you log out at any time as a criminal and you didn't log out in a bed somewhere, you're going to wake up in Grimhex. Now, as you can see at the end of the video with my little PvP encounter, that you can use this to your advantage, of course. It's the pussy way out, but hey, you get in a situation where crazy shenanigans are going down and you don't want to risk risk the prison sentence, just quit. You'll wake up in Grimhex. You have to decide if that's worth it, and if it's worth being a pussy that day. Like in this video, you'll see I was a pussy. Honestly, I usually am not a pussy, but in this case, I was trying to earn money fast, and I didn't want to go to prison. And let's just say the very next session, I went to prison. Oh, it was hilarious. It's hilarious. But, at the time, the only reason why I would have stuck around would have been to try and loot the guy's gun, because he had an LMG of some kind, and I don't want to spend any money since I'm trying to make money right now. Now, these are the things you got to think about as a criminal. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the criminal gameplay here, because it is really worthwhile. Oh, and I should say before we move on, if you just see, like, if the footage just pauses for a while, I'm a father. I have diapers to change. Sometimes my character just holds still and stares at a wall for a while as I pick up a son and change his diaper, give him milk, love on him, and then go back to my game. Because sometimes, in real life, men with responsibilities don't lose their responsibilities even though they're technically on their free time. There is no free time. You're always on call, and when they need it, you jump. So, I'll try to fast forward for that stuff. But yeah, there was probably a couple times where it was like 6 to 10 minutes. My poor ship's just sitting out in the void going, one day my master will return and we'll continue shooting scrubs. But yeah, so, what was it? When you're doing crime, I want to say, don't do it in Crusader too much. Yes, you can do there's a little more variety in the crime you can do in Crusader. There's a couple different types of missions, but they don't pay out very well. And, though that's definitely the best place to do your drug dealing with a drug boat, and we'll get into making money with a drug boat. Though I don't know if that's still viable now that they, you can make so much money doing the missions now. I hope they adjust the prices of stuff so you can make more money with small ships with small amounts of SCU, but that's conversation for the future. I gotta test it out and see how it all goes, see how much money you can make. But I recommend not doing that, because just like we know that there's a lot of criminals around Grimhex because that's where they're spawning, all the bounty hunters know that all the criminals spawn at Grimhex too. And they often spawn there as well. A bounty hunter can spawn and could stop his play session at Grimhex and just wait for you to pop up in his little mission contract area. So in a lot of ways, when you start crime, you gotta have that clock in the back of your head that says a bounty hunter is after me. You just gotta assume that there's a bounty hunter after you. Now, how do you dodge bounty hunters? Well, speaking as a man who's done some bounties, it's fun, by the way. You should try that as well, but I find not enough people try out the criminal side of things, so we gotta have some fun. And right now, let me tell you, it is worth it, because you can get, like I said, 53,000 credits doing these two missions together, and it's a good time. Plus, if you do it right, like we'll talk, like I like to go to Hurston. Now, the first reason why I like to go into Hurston is, again, to dodge bounty hunters, or at least throw them off my tail long enough that I can get a couple missions done. Because it's not as big deal to me if they catch up and I've already done my missions. So if I've already done my missions, I already got my money. If things look too hairy, I can pussy out and I can just respawn at Grimhex. Again, it's the pussy out move, and I'm not going to do that when I'm not trying to save money, because where's the fun in that? Half the reason why I do the criminal stuff is because I want a bounty hunter to chase me down. Let's face it, guys. You may think they're annoying when they shoot you when you're in your Moby glass, or ambush you with a fighter bristling with guns that you have no chance of beating. But you have to admit, You do the crime because you want them there. It's no fun if nobody chases you. Might as well just be a normal mission just with a higher payout. See? We understand you, bounty hunters. Without you, there's no us in a lot of ways. But you know what? I guess it's more accurately, if there's no us, there's no you. We have a weird hate-love relationship. But it's a good time. And, you know, you gotta think in your head, what are you risking? Like at the end of this video, it's like the final minute or so, I don't know. I may change a little bit of that. I'm there, and I'm taking advantage of a beautiful little aspect of the Hurston missions, the Hurston evil bunker missions, you know, the bad boy missions. And that's the fact that some of them take place in security outposts. And if you look at the description, it'll tell you if it's a security outpost. If it is, great. That means if you take your little hacker key with you, once you're done killing everybody, you bad boy, you get in there and you can hack down your crime stat all in one place, and you get paid to do it. Good times, great times. And I highly recommend you do that. Now, you're not always going to be able to get that crime, you know, the one where it's at a security complex, but you can find the security complexes in each planet cluster. I don't know if there's any in Crusader, and even if there was, you know, Korea's right there. And for the newbies, the Korea, the space station, is an empty space station, unless someone started the mission, but usually is an empty space station where if you take a hacker key, you can hack down your wanted level to 0, and no more bounty hunters will chase you, and you can take normal missions again. Good times, and you can land anywhere you want, blah, 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 blah. But you can actually do this in every single planet cluster, but you have to find the security outpost. And it's essentially, it's the standard bunker, but at the end of the bunker, after you've fought your way through all the cops, essentially, there's a room in the back with a computer, and it'll have the little thing like, you know, passkey required. That's where you put your passkey, you do the shebang, and bam, you can work down your crime stats. And that's actually what I was doing in my PvP encounter. And this is why I tell you, when you're doing crime and you're trying to take advantage of this 53,000 credit payout, which is a big deal for small-time guys in small starter ships like us, because you can get a decent set of armor and free weapons pretty darn easily. Again, that'll be in the next video, baby. Not free armor, but free weapons. And you can do these bunker missions pretty much with very little investment. I've actually done them with nothing but a pistol and a silencer. Yeah, the startup pistol too. So all I did was spend some money on med pins and a silencer, and that's all I did. And we'll do a full video on my recommendation on whatever, how to start. Just get into it right away if you want to go pew pew, and you don't want to do some boring box missions. Yeah, you know, I don't want to harp on the box missions. They can be fun for learning how to fly your ship, but you know, they're still boring. So, where was it? So what happened to me, like, what you need to do is, while you're doing this, recognize that you've been in one place for a long time. And bounty hunters are chasing you down. Like, what happens, if I remember how the new system works, is they have a general idea where you are. Like, there's a green box on the map that says, okay, they're in Hurston space. So that'll tell them, okay, I gotta go to Hurston. When they get to Hurston, there'll be a little marker saying, okay, they're around, say, it's in Hurston, they're around Magda, right? And okay, it doesn't say where in Magda, but it says it's in that general space. So then they fly to that moon, and then it zooms in more and more till finally there's a god marker over your head saying, you're here. Now, that means, all right, if you keep moving, the bounty hunter is always going to be one step behind, because he's not sure where you're going, how you're getting there. You know, it takes a lot of fuel, you got to catch up, all that business. But you do have this negative thing. If you're making money and you're having fun, you're going to be in one area for a while, and that's when the bounty hunter is going to catch you. This is why you got to think in the back of your mind when you're doing any of these missions, a bounty hunter is after you. You don't know for sure, just tell yourself a bounty hunter is after you. Because like in this case, look, you'll see, I was, you know, feeling pretty good about myself. I was getting ready to loot all those rifles upstairs. And then I was hacking down my crime stat, and I keep checking my corners. I pressed the button, and I was tempted to just keep looking at the computer to hack as fast as possible. But I turned around one last time, and boom, there was the bounty hunter, and I'm like, oh crap! And I completely panicked. It was so funny. I lost my crap. Part of it was the server was lagging really hard, and you'll see, like, I started shooting, and I just sprayed, missed, horrible, tried to sidestep, hit all my own cover, and then he panicked because he was expecting to shoot me in the face while while I was on the computer, and he just starts spraying everything with an LMG, and then I start throwing grenades, and the next thing you know, because it's lagging so bad, like it doesn't look like it on the footage, but to me, it was literally probably 3 seconds after I pressed the button, the grenade finally flew. So naturally, it bounces back in my face. So at that point, that's when I decided to pussy out. Because, quite frankly, I was a little outgunned. My surprise was over. If I had hit him a few times when he had first come through the door, I probably would have tried to kill him. Because, I wasn't risking too much. I had already put my reauthorizer, so that's the key, into the machine. I would have lost that, obviously, because, it's already hacked, and I would need to stay there to get the crime stats done. And I'd be risking my primary weapon, which at that time was just a weapon I'd looted off someone, so I wasn't too attached to it, and then a 400 credits, and then 800 credits for attachments on that gun. Not a huge loss. We're talking like 1,050, something like that, 1,200 or something like that, worth of credits. Yeah, 1,250 credits. Loss if I'd fought him. That's not a big deal. But the big loss would have been time, because I would have been sent to prison. And just so you know, you do one of these underground bunker missions, like the bad boy missions, and you're going to have almost a full crime stat, which nets you a cool 9 to 11 hour sentence in prison. That's a long time. Luckily, the prison sentence does go down even if you're not playing the game or if you're playing Star Marine, which is something I do a lot because, I don't know, the prison gameplay is so janky. Even when you mine, half the time the machine doesn't take it, and then you really have to mine a lot now to work down an 11-hour sentence. So, I admit, a lot of times now I just wait till the next day to play, or I play Star Marine for a while. But we should clarify here that when you're trying to make money, every second you're in prison is a second that you're not making money. And you're saving up for something for a big event like this. It was a big risk, so I pussied out. I'm like, well, I don't want to go to prison right now. I'm trying to make money. And bam, I'm out. And of course, karma says you're going to go back into prison because the next time I was out, I glitched out a little bit and I actually died to an NPC. So embarrassing. I slapped myself in the face. But they have high damage, so life is life. By the way, that's a glitch you guys should be watching out right now. I've noticed it I think it's probably more likely a lag issue because I have really bad internet. If you guys double check that your equipment actually saves, because in my case, I saved my equipment, but it didn't save it for whatever reason. I assume a lot of the problems are server lag issues right now because basically the server's knowledge, I don't know, like the server's data, it's memory, that's the one, is packed right now. Like they are at limit, and they need to get stuff like iCache and server meshing in to start clearing up the nonsense. But so little things can happen, and in this case, my med pins were not attached to me, and I went for one, and nothing happened, and then I was shot in the face and I died. Little things, gentlemen. Little things you have to think about. Oh, man. Good times. Is there anything else I want to talk about this subject? We're only 30 minutes in. Yeah, maybe I'll keep it at around 30 minutes. But remember, guys, this is the silver lining. Sure, it'd be cool to do it now. But all of you small-time guys like me, I should have brought this up in the beginning. Oh, well, I'm all over the place. I treat this like a live stream almost. If you're small time like us and you only have a starter ship right now, this is the time to get yourself a fun little combat ship. Because again, especially if they I have a feeling that the prices are probably going to go down on a lot of these things later. What a lot of times CIG does is they'll do something like they'll push it way over a limit to just see how it plays out, and then they'll pump it back, pump the brakes on it, and then, yeah, you know what I'm saying. They're testing things out, so a lot of things are in flux. So enjoy the high payout while you can. But the payout should last a little longer, and if you have a decent combat ship, you could do things like the claim jumper missions. Good time. Remember, right now they're paying something crazy like 35,000 credits for for the evil bad boy mission. I don't know, is it something like 20,000 credits for the good guy mission? I don't know. But pick a ship that's going to suit your playstyle afterwards. And one reason why I'm really going for the 325A is long-term stuff. I want a ship with a bed, but I want something with combat capabilities, so if a bounty hunter does catch me and I'm in my ship, I have a chance. Because the 325A actually has pretty decent firepower for a light fighter and a large missile payload. So if I orientate it for long-range combat, use crazy amounts of missiles, because strange fact, something I didn't know, if you actually change out your missile racks for size 1 racks, you get something like 4 size 1s per size 2 rack. Which is crazy. And you can have a lot of missiles that way. Hey, I might have mixed it up. Maybe that's size 3. Whatever. The point is, you're actually going to get something like 2,000 more damage that way. But every missile has to hit, right? And size 1s are more likely to miss, and blah, 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 blah. It's one of those things you have to decide. But you can also queue up 4 missiles at a time that way. Because I believe how it works, don't quote me on this, I gotta double check, is you can lock on with however many missiles are on a rack, and you can shoot them all at once. Well, one right after another kind of thing. And that means you can shoot a lot of missiles. And it's crazy because even a fighter like the 325 can get somewhere around like 20, I can't count exactly, but near 20-ish missiles. And that's a lot of missiles for one little fighter. One little fighter. And it has a size 4 and 2 size 3 hardpoints. Good times. Good times. Feel it. So, but it also, unlike other light fighters, has an interior. And that's what I want. I want the bed and the interior. I don't know, it should persist. I want to see if it will persist with some food and water. That way, rather than always jumping back to Crusader all the time, because, again, to avoid bounty hunters or to give them a harder time, I like to do my crime in the other systems. Because it takes, usually a bounty hunter is going to start in Crusader and then follow you wherever you go, kind of thing. It's usually rarer in my mind for them to start somewhere else and then follow you. At least I've noticed a lot of times that when I start on Crusader, I get caught really fast. Or they catch up to me really fast. And that's makes sense because they're hanging around Grim Hex too. They know where you spawn, bad boy. They know where to hang out. It's not like it's a secret where we hang out. So it'd be nice to use it as kind of a forward base where I can log out and log back in and keep some. I hope it persists. If the food and water persists, then I'm golden. Because remember, you don't have any food and water. You can't buy it from any of the stations or anywhere, or even get it from any of the planets yet. Those survival elements aren't in the game yet. So you have to bring some with you and camp out in whatever system you want to do all your shenanigans in. Now, of course, when the time comes, remember, gosh, this van, I'm always so cold in it, but when you actually are wanting to fly somewhere else and you don't want to reclaim your ship, you don't want to teleport and pussy out to Crusader, you can hit up one of those security outposts, even if there's no mission, get to the bottom, hack down your crime stat, and boom, you can fill up your QT fuel at any station or facility or whatever that does that kind of thing. So, yeah. I think that's most of what I want to talk about here. Maybe I'll have to just cut off some of the more boring footage where my ship's just sitting out in space waiting for me to finish changing that diaper. Hey, I'm a busy man. I got things to do. I don't know about you, but I had to have a great Christmas. And, it's this awesome thing when you become a father and you're the one doing Christmas. It's such a change, and I love it. You might think as a kid that would be boring, But it's actually the most fulfilling thing in the world, watching your kids' eyes light up when they see presents. And my sons are so young; these are their first Christmases, and it was beautiful, beautiful. I love it. Ah, good times. And I'm gonna love blowing the crap out of some spaceships with all of y'all when when they finally get around to giving us these dynamic events. Should be fun. Having a good time. Like I said, you should expect my next video on these subjects. I mean, I stream I stream most nights, so usually if it's not a crazy week like Christmas week, I stream Mondays through Saturday, and I don't stream Sunday because heathens. And these streams are more family oriented, may not be the right word, but like fatherhood streams, if you will. We talk about politics, life, video games sometimes. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Should be a good time. If you guys are like me, you got kids, you're thinking about kids, it's a good place to go. You can start getting ideas for what you want to teach your kids and whatnot. But I think that's it. Just some quick tips and tricks, and don't forget the silver lining for 3.12 delays, and that's more time to get the spaceships and the upgrades that you want to get, so you can actually interact with all those crazy big boy ships coming in that are going to blast the crap out of everyone. They're very serious ships. It's the 80s crowd and all their big ships coming to mess up our day. And that's another video too. I wish I could actually join Xenothreat in the game. I feel like Xenothreat fits me better than the security forces. Yeah, you know what? Call them terrorists. But they're right. Like, if you look at every single alien race in the game, every single one of them is bad news. Even the ones that aren't supposed to be bad news, they're bad news. Off the top of my head, Vandal, obviously. I get it, crazy warring race. What were the bird people who have already been conquered, whatever? They attacked us. They saw us and went, kill! Kind of on their heads, and jerks who don't want them to get their mojo back and just start killing again, right? Bad news. Banu, they're slavers. Bad news again. The Xi'an, bad news. They're already telling us what to do. Right, there's this Cold War for forever, and then just to have some communication and minor trade with them, we have to completely change our diplomatic relations with other. Like, we can't talk to some alien species. We can't do this. We can't do that. Like they're literally dictating what we can do in our own nations, while we have to give in to all of their demands. I know this stuff isn't real. This is all fake. But don't trust the aliens, man. Xenothreat's got it right. Anyway, go out there and mess people up. Get your money, boys. And I'll see you when things get hot. Later.